Hello everyone, today we are talking about Jamf Teacher and how that we can apply ad hoc rules or rules in the moment to better help with classroom management. On the left you'll have the teacher's iPad here, and then in that small window is the student's iPad, so you can see how those ad hoc rules kind of affect the students on their end. On the teacher's iPad we're looking for Jamf Teacher. It is this maroon colored app here. Launching that, you should see all of your rostered classes. They should look the same from PowerSchool. Opening up one of those classes is where you'll see the list of students on the middle column and then Jamf's new UI, essentially. If you've used this before, you'll see that things are kind of different. They've changed. Jamf has tried to move things around and make them more simpler. Really what we're going to be focusing on is the allowed websites and the allowed apps, with the addition of attention here at the top. So first, allowed websites. What this does by itself is it locks students into Safari and the websites that you list here. So for example, if I back out and I go into Safari here, and I have this website that I want the students to be locked into, I can go up to this URL bar and either on the keyboard press Command-C to copy, or you can touch the link and copy it here. And then if we go back into Jamf Teacher, I can paste this here by doing Command-V or holding down on the screen and getting paste as well. Pressing return or enter would then enter in that website for you to be able to apply it there in the top right. By doing this, it's going to lock down the student's iPad. You will see that Safari will automatically launch because this in theory is the only allowed app, and any other websites like this Google search for dog here are not going to load. But the website that you have specifically put on the iPad will load perfectly fine. If they open up a new tab, the websites that you have allowed here will show up in their little favorites. And again, if they search for anything or try to Google anything, they will not be able to. They'll get a restricted page shown here. The thing that makes this the most powerful, that they can only get to one website, is also its greatest weakness, so you have to be very careful. If you try to just push the students off to Canvas or just push them over to Clever, they need the exact URLs and also the redirect URLs. So to be very careful. So again, if there's a Google authentication, they're going to try to load google.accounts.com. That needs to be allowed. So this is really specific towards research purposes, open Google searches or open websites that you want them to just specifically read or look at for the time being. In addition to allowing just the one website, right now they're stuck into Safari. They can't leave it. If you would like them to have a secondary app or multiple apps to use, that is where we're going to jump into the allowed apps. If we click on this plus icon here, you will get the list of applications you as a teacher have access to. Now, some of these apps and most of these apps students won't have access to. For example, FaceTime, this is already restricted from the technology department's end, so they would never have access to FaceTime. These are just purely all the apps that you as a teacher have access to. So for this example, let's say we're going to add Apple's Pages, and let's add the Canvas student app because some of the students use the app versus Safari. Once we apply this will essentially free the iPad from just using Safari and allow them to access those other applications. But also, at the same time, when they go into Safari, they can't Google search or go to any other websites than the ones that you have listed there. When all is said and done and you want to remove these restrictions from the students' iPads, what we need to do on the teacher's iPad is go up to the top right, click on those three dots there. Then at the very bottom, they've changed the verbiage. Now it says clear all limitations. When you do this option, this will free up all of the restrictions that you put on the student's iPad, and it should return back to their normal function. The last piece that we were going to touch base on is the attention. Up here is the little icon with the two hands clapping. If you select that, what this does, it allows you to put in a custom message. So I will say, look up, and then also set a time frame. If I click apply, what this will do, it will force the student's iPad to open Jamf Student, and then that little message prompt will appear, and they're kind of stuck here until you release them. You can release this attention command by either going into the three dots, clicking on clear all limitations, or with this specific function, you can click on the little banner here, and then it will allow you to click the red clear attention button as well. The last piece here, restrictions. We're not really recommending that you use. All of this is kind of just generics that we already filter on our end. So there's no means of you needing to block social media because we already block social media. We already filter out like the shopping like Amazon, that kind of stuff. And then this stuff down here, a lot of this is critical to how apps kind of work on the back end. So for example, if you turn off making screenshots and screen recordings, that will not allow you to see their screens in Apple Classroom at the same time. So that kind of thing. Put it simply, everything in restrictions is already restricted by us to how it needs to be. So this section here does not need to be utilized or messed with, essentially. The last thing to do in Jamf Teacher, just to be safe, when you leave class, make sure we select clear restrictions and leave, just in case that clear restrictions in the three dots did not actually get pushed out to a specific student or to the class.